Hello and welcome back to another episode of Goonies World. I am Johnny Farrow, also known as Sean, and with me, as always, is Meanie, also known as Ryan.
Also known as Dan tonight, but hello everybody.
And we have Goonie, also known as Colin.
Hello.
And we have the lovely Lunicorn, also known as Lynn.
Hello.
And tonight we are going back to our second installment of Top Men. Who Top Men? For which we're using a stripped-down version of Fudge, the Fudge system originally developed by Stefano Sullivan. If you're interested in seeing how we built our Fudge game, you can visit nerdglowson.com and get a free copy of it, along with a lot of other cool stuff. But in our last session, our top men, codenamed Black Cavendish, Mr. Smith, and 13, began their search for the lost tomb of Alexander the Great, because intelligence services discovered that the Soviets were looking for it and thought they had a lead on it. So after reviewing what they knew of it, our top men flew to 1950s Istanbul to look for the tomb of Theodosius II, because Theodosius I supposedly located Alexander's tomb and looted it and left everything to Theodosius II, whose body was buried in Constantinople, which later became Istanbul. It was moved to Rome, but it was believed that his grave goods would still be in what is now Istanbul. So, hoping to locate the former burial place of Theodosius II before the Soviets did, our heroes sought out Mustafa Ibrahim, their contact with the Turkish Department of Antiquities. However, when they reached his residence, they found him freshly murdered by an assailant who said he'd been hired by a Belgian. And after shooting that guy in the ass, Mr. Smith and the rest of you realized that he was probably referring to the renegade Belgian archaeologist Jan Donville, who's done work for the Soviets, who you guys have tangled with before. But fortunately, you all recovered documents from the assassin before tying him up and leaving him for the Turkish police, where he can visit the tender mercies of a Turkish prison. And I don't know why Turkish prison is always held up as the worst kind of prison, right? You see Midnight Express, the Alan Parker. Yeah. But don't want to end up there. But those documents indicated that Theodosius had looted not only Alexander's tomb, but the tombs of Caligula and any other emperor who history has said had taken objects from Alexander's tomb before he did. And so his son's burial place was identified with a mark on a map that the assassin had that he had taken from Mustafa Ibrahim. The map was of the Basilica Cistern, which is a huge cathedral-like reservoir beneath the city, built in the 6th century by the Byzantine Emperor Justinian. He had also found in that folder, the same folder, you guys found applications for permissions to excavate down there, all of which had been repeatedly denied by the Turkish government. And on the way out of poor Mustafa's apartment building, y'all were attacked by Turkish thugs armed with Russian handguns. But after dispatching them, you all found the tourist entrance to the Basilica Cistern and broke in. It's open to the public during the day, but now it's almost midnight, so you guys were obliged to break in. And that's where we left you, and that's where we'll start now. Do recall that Alexander's breastplate has supposedly been taken by Caligula and then later by Theodosius. And the reason that was important is because it was emblazoned with a map of Alexandria from that time. And it possibly has locations of several places that are, no one can find today in Alexandria. It's maybe not the best clue in the world, but it's the best clue anyone has to possibly find the tomb of Alexander the Great. But you all walk slowly down those stairs to a landing, and there are several small engine motorboats for use by tourists down here. The place is huge. It's dimly lit with a few safety lights. They put on more lights during the day. But the cistern is, of course, full of water, and its vast ceiling is held up by hundreds of towering pillars. There's actually 336 huge pillars down here that hold the place up. You'll have to take one of these boats, obviously, to explore it, but they're probably not very loud. They're like little lawnmower engine-sized putt-putt motors. But I guess first thing would be to just orient yourselves on the map and get your bearings. So,
Yes, let's take a look at that map.
well, the Basilica is much longer than it is wide, but it's about 65 meters wide, about 104 meters long. So it's pretty big, and you can't see all the way down through it. But again, they do have safety lights up, kind of the way they do for caves that allow tourists in. You know, it's still very dim. Again, they light it up better when it's daytime and they're having tourists. But yeah, orienting yourself on the map, you can see where this tourist entrance is, and you'll have to go about halfway down, you think, but it seems pretty easy. You know, X marks the spot, right? So I'll assume you get in now. You don't have any oars or anything, so I mean, to make this boat move, you will have to fire up the little motor. That will make a little noise, unless you could think of something I can't.
I think we just gotta start her up.
And it's just a little tourist boat, you know, seats like 8 people, and there's room for the tour guide in the back. But your boat pulls off into the dark. And if you guys are all, you know, you're history buffs, most of you. So this is living history right here, though. I mean, this is a place that's still up and still there. It is amazing, especially at the height of these pillars. But about where the mark on the map is, you do see a mark on the wall. It's a so-called hen's eye, which Black Cavendish, at least, would recognize as a swirly symbol that was used a lot for luck or good fortune in the ancient world. But go ahead and make a scholarship roll to see if there's anything else you can tell about that. Any of you can make it. You need a good result.
I only got a fair.
Oh, well, yeah, you feel like there's some significance to that. It's on the tip of your memory, but yeah, you don't think it's of vital importance, but
it means something.
I got a fair. You said we need good.
Yeah, you need good. Heck, maybe Mr. Smith will remember something from his studies.
Somehow, with his fair scholarship, Mr. Smith indeed rolled a blank minus plus plus for good.
Blank minus plus plus plus. Ludicrous. He rolled plaid. It's like way up. Yeah, well, you realize that, in fact, you saw this when you were riding in the cab today. There's a triumphal arch that the Emperor Theodosius built long ago in Byzantium, or Constantinople, and it's that same symbol as on the Arch of Theodosius. So, not vital information, but it helps confirm a connection to Theodosius here, and certainly confirmation that you're probably in the right place. Now, the walls along the edges, and you have to pull up next to them. Luckily, there's a little walkway, around the edge of the cistern. But you can pull up and shut off the motor, and again, you're plunged back into quiet. You don't hear any other motors, although it'd be crazy if they didn't have some kind of cistern security that, ran through every now and then down here. But the walls are made of these old fired bricks that you see all over Constantinople or Istanbul. But it's obvious, it's very clear that a section of those bricks, roughly the size of a small door, are discolored. And as you get up and look at them more closely, they seem much newer than the surrounding bricks. I mean, maybe only about a decade old, in fact. But somebody has covered it up. Maybe there was an accident. So the trick now, of course, is how to get through these bricks. And I don't have a plan or a right way for you to do it. Obviously, brute force would make a lot of noise, but almost anything I could think of would make a lot of noise. You guys are the experts. What do you think?
Well, let's take a closer look. I wonder if there's any mortar used, or they're just loose bricks.
Well, there was some mortar used, in fact. Yeah, in fact, it's kind of sloppy work.
What was this symbol? The eye?
It's called a
thing?
hen's eye. It really just kind of looks like a spiral.
Hen's
It's a sign of good fortune. Apparently, it was sort of the house sigil of Theodosius and his family. But yeah, I don't know how one does get through bricks, but I know you guys have got tools and supplies, and you can surely think of something. And it might take a while. What do you think? Anyone got any ideas?
Well,
Go ahead.
I mean, Mr. Smith's idea is to just pull out all of his guns and shoot at the bricks until they're gone, but that's not probably a good idea at all, so he will not be attempting that.
Yeah.
Let's just see how long. This could be something that takes a long time, but it's worth trying. Using an attachment on my Swiss Army knife to just literally get in there and try to try to chisel out
some mortar.
The mortar along the mortar, not on the bricks themselves, but try to loosen up the mortar and see if we can pull.
Yeah,
those.
we can get like one or two loose. We might be able to just push the whole door or whatever, in.
If you can get
or get it loose all around the edges.
Right. That's not a terrible idea. I imagine you want to try to be a little bit quiet. And so it takes time. You get a small tool, and the mortar's about 10 years old, but it's also, damp environment down here. And so it takes a couple hours. And at the end of the second hour, though, you can hear a distant put, 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 coming from the opposite end, and you think you're hearing another boat down here. What do you want to do? You've almost got the whole thing done. But
let's wait a few minutes and see if the putt was just investigating, and maybe they'll move on. And if they don't go away, then we'll go in and deal with them.
Okay.
Is there like any shadows we can hide
There's
in?
some shadows. Remember, the lights are fairly dim, and so the lights tend to create cones of light, And now if somebody had a searchlight or whatever, but you weren't making a lot of noise, so you're hopeful this is just routine. They drive through, putt through a few times a night, look for bums.
If they spot us, we are just young Turks that are making out. We've got to start making out if they see us, and that'll be our cover.
Okay. Well, you guys all, I assume, get into the shadows. Now, you got the boat sitting out there, but this was not like in a well-lit area. It's not like there's this big sign, Tomb of Theodosius II, with a big light. But I'm going to make a roll for our Turkish cistern security man, who really only has a fair adventure score, and he doesn't see anything. In fact, you are shocked at his sub-terrible result. And in fact, you hear him whistling, a happy Turkish tune. He's looking in the opposite direction. You see him go by maybe about 30 meters away. He's going through the middle of the place. But luckily, he doesn't see you at all. Now, you have a feeling he's probably going to come back around, eventually. So maybe now's the time to try to use brute force. Now that you've got it to the point where you think you might be able, with a strong combat roll, somebody might be able to just bash this thing in if they wanted to. Now, that might make some noise, but you don't see any way to do that quietly. Hopefully, the noise of somebody's motor would muffle that out. Because you'd hate to have to kill a innocent security guard, right? Yeah.
Yes, it would be.
I wouldn't think that the top men would be murderers.
No, it would be distasteful, but I do think that the ends. What is it? The means justify the ends, or is it the ends justify the means?
Justify the means. Yes, the ends justify the means. Yeah.
Yeah, I will do whatever it takes for my country, but I would prefer not to kill. I'd rather have a three-way makeout if possible. That saves us.
Right,
but
right.
I think we ought to just force our way in now where we can.
Okay. All right. Now,
And the intent was to kind of loosen around
around the edges so that
the outside, so that the door is relatively intact, and so we're just trying to like push it
without making
the
it
whole
fall down
door
and
open
break.
rather than
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you, it won't be that hard to push through it. What the roll is for is to move it without knocking it down and breaking it. And it's a combat roll. You need a great result. So who thinks they've got the best shot at that?
Well, that would be Mr. Smith, who unfortunately has a great combat score, but rolled a good result.
Well, you get open, but it does topple. The bricks break all over. Now, if that cistern security was going to hear you, again, it's got to be over the noise of his little motor. And I did say it's like a little lawnmower motor, but you ever mowed a lawn, that could be pretty loud, right? But so we'll see. He's once again with 3 minuses here on my fudge dice. We see that this is the most ineffective. Although I did knock him down 1 just because of the disadvantage of the motor. But even had he not been knocked down 1, his mind must be on the song he's singing and whistling. Maybe he's thinking about a girl. Maybe it's a song about a girl. But luckily, unless he turns around and comes back and looks this way, you guys have got some time to act. Of course, I imagine you have lights in your packs. I'm sure that, yep. And I see that 13 breaks out the light, and you guys break out your lights, and you shine them into the room. And this is a incredibly old room. You can tell by the architecture that this is older than the Basilica Cistern itself. It would have been underneath some other building, long ago. It was never meant to be an entrance here. This is just where they knew they could get in. But this is a large room with a vaulted ceiling, and there are 4 skeletons laying on the floor, wearing kind of rotted and tattered rags, but they're already skeletons. There's a dais in the middle of the room that holds a stone sarcophagus, but the lid is slid off of it and laid to one side, which would make sense if they moved Theodosius's body. Now, there are many niches all along the walls, which in Roman or Byzantine tombs, that's where they would have placed the grave goods. And many of those are empty. But shining your light into a few, you can see some pottery vessels and oil lamps and little figurines of copper and some amulets and some beads. Certainly some minor finds that a student archaeologist would love to have. But you don't see anything at all like a breastplate or weapons or any riches or treasure. In fact, all of those niches must have been covered at one time and broken into, because there's rubble on the floor all around the niches. You also see a few crowbars and mallets lying on the floor in here. And
Tomb Raiders.
There's a pack of cigarettes, too. It's like old and dusty. Who wants to pick it up and take a look? Anyone want to smoke?
Are they Turkish cigarettes? Let me take a look.
You go down and take a look. No, they're not Turkish, because first thing you see when you wipe the dust off of it is a swastika.
Oh.
The brand of the cigarettes is Sturm. It shows a soldier with a swastika, with a flag with a swastika on it flying with a cigarette in his mouth. It's a real brand. And so that's old, though. I mean, this World War II's been over for a decade. Make some adventure rolls just to see if there's anything else important in here that you might be missing. In fact, I think you could substitute a scholarship roll, too.
Okay.
And we need a good result, is all.
I got
Legendary.
I got a great.
Terrible over here.
Terrible.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Well, you two, Black Cavendish and 13, you do notice a little silver glint of metal on the floor in the rubble. And you kick some of the rubble out of the way, and it's a little flint wheel lighter, like a Zippo-style lighter. There's an inscription in German on it. And even though no one has specified that they read German, I think Black Cavendish almost would have to read German. Most of the archaeological studies that were done, and there was just a lot of German. We're going to assume you can read German. And the rest of you could even roll to try to read German. You're that well educated. And obviously, a lot of GIs and people who fought in World War II were given rudimentary German lessons, just in case. It has an inscription on it in German. It says, to Baron von Papen upon the occasion of his 41st birthday from his beloved Gretel. Now, Baron von Papen, where is that? Where do you know that name? Well, you're so... it's not that long ago, and you're educated people. Baron von Papen, you realize and remember, was actually the German ambassador to Turkey during World War II. Now, Turkey was neutral in World War II, all the way up until 1945, when at the last minute, when it was obvious that the Allies were going to win, then they declared war on Germany, like at the last minute. But they were still doing trade with both Germany and the Allies through most of World War II. So it's not completely unnatural that the Nazis would have had an embassy here. But it seems that officially or unofficially, a Nazi team may have already been here, during the war and taken things. But you realize the only way to really confirm that, or to find out where those items would have been taken, would be to access the records room at the German consulate building, probably. Here in Istanbul, because we know the Germans are mad for record keeping. So that's the only thing that you can think of. So maybe a visit to the German consulate is necessary to check the records or files of Baron von Papen, because as the consulate, all of his personal files and whatnot would have stayed with the embassy. You also know now that East Germany doesn't have an embassy here. The Soviets handle all of East Germany's foreign, relations. But the German embassy that's here now for the Federal Republic, or West Germany, is still the same building. So that seems to be the only real obvious place to look next. And then, of course, you hear the motor starting to return. And
if he sees that door
shit.
busted in, he's going to come investigate.
This time he has a great result. He has as many pluses as he had. So he does come to investigate. You hear the motor pop off. Your boat's obviously there. And
Quick, let's jump in the sarcophagus and
That's
hide.
exactly what I was thinking.
you guys want to do that?
Can we all fit?
Well, rub-a-dub-dub, 3 top men in a tub, You guys, so you haul up the... Pull up the sarcophagus lid in the last minute, and you hide. And
I claim the middle. I get both. I get it.
Get it from both ends.
Yeah.
It's going to be the meat in our
Meat in your
sandwich.
Top man sandwich, yeah.
Well, but I'm the top.
He's the top man. And
I have to be
Apparently,
the top.
I'm a bottom top man.
Well, now it's you do hear. I don't know what Turkish for hello is, but you guys do. Hello? And just their little crack. You guys going to get it on perfect, right? But you can see, the light shining around in there. And you can hear him saying something on it. You hear a crackle of a little handheld radio. And he's saying something in Turkish. You catch about every third word. He's had some vandalism. It's not an uncommon thing in Constantinople, really, or Rome, or any city with a lot of history. Gosh, don't even talk to me about Alexandria itself. There's so much looting over the years. He seems to just call it in, though, and then the light disappears, and you can hear the boat. So he seems to have noted and marked it and moved on, but you probably want to get out of here fairly quickly. If that's what you want to do. Now, you could take one of the souvenirs. They get the little copper figurines, which are sort of interesting. They're just like little family members. Romans did that a lot. If you've ever seen the movie Gladiator, how he's got his little people, that's how they remember their loved ones. But there's nothing of value here. Although, Baron von Papen's lighter might have some use or interest to the right person.
Yeah, I think we should take the lighter.
Yes. I think Nazi loot is fair game. I
Sure
wouldn't.
it is.
I wouldn't take any of the older stuff. I think that would be improper. But
Yeah.
yes, Nazi
Older
memorabilia is fine.
The older stuff belongs in a museum. But anyway,
Well, if nobody else is taking the Nazi cigarettes, I will totally take.
yeah,
the
you
Nazi
totally take
cigarettes.
nasty cigarettes. The Sturm brand cigarettes. Probably a little stale, but in fact, you flick the lighter, it sparks the first few times. It's still got some fuel in it too. So anyway, I'll assume you guys just leave the way you came, right?
Well, assuming that there is no other exits or potential exits, I think we should look around for another way out of here.
Well,
before we
you
just-
do. You take some time, and I'm never going to make you roll the dice, just as an exercise, because you feel very confident that there's no other way in. You can see where there used to be, but it was plastered and bricked over a long, long time ago. I mean, in the
was the
Byzantine times.
Was the sarcophagus itself completely empty?
Yeah. That's probably where the body. Yeah, there's some dust and
And no other clues except this lighter, huh?
yeah, all clues lead to the idea that the Germans, or the Nazis anyway, as they were wont to do during World War II,
Yes.
have already been here. But the German consulate building probably has some answers. However, you think as you're taking your little putt-putt back to where you came in that getting into the German consulate building might not be the easiest thing in the world, but at least it's not the East German consulate. But when you get back up topside, there's still a lot of activity in Constantinople even after midnight. But quick look, at the local maps that you've got, you could tell that the German consulate building's on Inonu Boulevard, is near Bosporus Park and Hotel Istanbul. There's a cab, simple cab drive away. It's actually not that far from the Bosporus. And, of course, it will be closed at this time. So I guess the real question I would ask is, do you think it would be better to break into the German consulate at night or wait till it's open and try to, bluff your way in somehow? Both could be fun.
Yeah, I think we could do either, but I don't know how much time we have, We've got some competition from the Soviets. If they are looking, if they've found the same, I mean, we obviously we were the first people to come there since the Nazis. So
yeah, you found this first, but you know that Soviet interests possibly being spearheaded by your old nemesis Jan Donville. Yeah, they know you're in Istanbul. They know you know something. So
yeah, if we do it in the day, we could be there could be spies that are watching our every move. At least at nighttime, we might be able to stealthily get in and find those records that we're after.
I agree.
That's true. I'm curious. I mean, we went at night, obviously, to
the guy's house.
I can't think. Well, the guy's house, but I'm talking about the water
Basilica Cistern.
Basilica, yes, Basilica was the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
And it took us at least a couple hours
Yeah.
to get through the bricks.
Yeah,
So
it did.
it can't be. It's got to be getting pretty late.
Yeah. In fact, you look at your watch. In fact, it's not late. It's early. It's like 3:30 a.m. local time.
So I don't know what time people start coming to work at the consulate, but if we're gonna get in there now, we're gonna have to work quick.
It's true.
Yes.
It's true. Well, luckily the Germans are very organized and officious people, so hopefully you can find files on Baron von Papen very quickly. Quickest way there would be a cab, of course, and you could find a cab any time of night. It's a cosmopolitan city, as ancient as it is. And even though Turkey is a a Muslim nation. They're fairly secular. They don't have a problem with nightclubs, and, you know.
Well, they were back then.
Yeah, they were back then. Anyway, though, you can take a cab over to, down to Ainonu Boulevard, where the Bosporus Park is. Beautiful park, by the way, just gorgeous. A lot of great big old Byzantine statues in it, and it's well lit up at night. You can see there's some activity in the park, and a great hotel across the street from the German consulate building. It's a 3-story building. It's all red brick with pale stone highlights. And just kind of getting out of the cab, and you give the guy a few Turkish coins, and just getting a look at the place, wandering around, you can see there are ventilation ducts on the roof, and there's a delivery door in the rear, and there's a front entrance, and of course plenty of windows. There's a lot of windows, in fact. So, gosh, what do you think? I don't know the best way to get in. There isn't a best way. Just curious how you might do it.
Delivery doors?
I am half tempted, and this is probably a very stupid idea, but I'm half tempted to let you guys go to like the back, like the delivery doors, and I'll just pretend to be German and go to the front and be like, "Guten Morgen," and like have my little Nazi cigarettes.
Right. It cause a distraction anyway, right? Like,
right,
yeah.
like pretend to like I'm going to work early, like early day today. Hi.
Yeah. And a consulate building would have people in it at all hours, because this is where they've got like apartments in here for the the consul and his family and whatnot. So that might be a great idea. You want to go with that? Okay, and we're going to assume you can speak enough German to fake your way through it. You know what I mean? So
I just putting together all words into one word when you make sentence.
Right.
That is German.
It's kind of an urban theater. But anyway, so you guys sneak around to the back. It's an alley, but I mean it's not like a narrow alley. Delivery trucks can get through here. There's some trash. There's a bum asleep over one corner, but he's snoring and seems fairly out of it. Meanwhile, you go up to the front and hammering on the bell. Meanwhile, in the back, maybe you guys give him a few minutes, right? And of course, the delivery door just has a lock. It seems like a normal lock. Luckily, this is the 1950s, so electronic security is only in its infancy at this point. So most locks are still good old-fashioned lock picks, right? So I'll let you try to open that back delivery door. Meanwhile,
adventure roll?
Yeah, and it's an adventure roll. And we need a great result, though, because it is a consulate building. They have great locks here.
No.
Well, you succeed, but you damage the lock. You succeed, but you damage the lock. And you set off a...
Very unprofessional of me.
I know, and you set off a ding, 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 ding.
Embarrassed.
It's like old bell from inside. But by the time you've done that, when you get back, catch up a few minutes, and you buzz on the front door, and the door opened by a furious-looking bald man with a mustache. He's got his little name tag on. He's the night dispatch man who listens for radio transmissions, apparently, because he's still got his little radio headset hanging around his neck, from his earphones and a little microphone. His name tag says, Herr Gottfried. He's like, what is all this coming in the middle of the night? It's an ungodly hour. It's an ungodly hour.
Guten Morgen. It's an early day today. I just wanted to get to work in the early times.
Early? I don't recognize you.
Oh, my name is Herr Williams.
Herr Williams? Well, and then just then, though, the ding, 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 ding goes off. He turns around and looks towards the back. Goes, mein Gott!
Mein package has arrived.
What do you do then?
I just run in the door.
He goes, hey, you, hey! And you start, what, are you like running towards the back, or what do you do?
I must get my package.
Come back here, you, hey! I know, security! Whatever that is in German. Meanwhile, so you guys have got the door open. You can actually hear yelling from the other side of the place now. So that's the way role-playing games work. Sometimes one roll, and now your really only choices are to get in here and try to find what you need quickly, or get the hell out. What do you think? You're already here.
Get in and find what we need quickly.
So I pictured you like leading this guy on this kind of comic chase. He's
Very Keystone Cop scene. I'm kind of imagining like mine packet. I'm like running around, like screaming for my package, like running a door. He like runs in the door. I run out a different door.
Picturing you like knocking over trash, knocking over little waste baskets in his way. So yeah, there's this great Keystone Cop scene as you're around, making as big of a distraction as you can. Eventually, there's like 2 security people chasing you as well from the BPOL, West German police. There's 2 or 3 of them chasing you around the place now. But that allows you guys at least get through the back where there's a dock and a storage area. There's stationery and some seals and whatnot. Not like... not those kind of seals, but, seals that they would stamp on the paper. There's a long hallway, but very clearly labeled in German, records room, with stairs going down. That'd obviously be what you needed. So I'll assume you guys head that way. Meanwhile, still rushing around up in the hallway. Let's have a combat roll just to see if any of these guys does manage to catch up with you and tackle you. I only have a fair result from my security team, though. If you could beat that, you can keep them running for a while.
I stay on. My roll completely canceled out, so it's just great as my attribute.
Well, great's better than fair, so they're continuing. Thank you, stop, halt. How many say? No. Anyway, they're still chasing you comically around the place. Meanwhile, you guys get through the records room. You go downstairs, and there's like row and row and row and row of these great big old filing cabinets. And they seem like they're cross-referenced in this great big book they've got. The filing cabinets are cross-referenced by year and by alphabetical order. So somebody's going to have to flip through this great big index to even find what drawer to look in. That would be a scholarship roll. Meanwhile, you made it all the way around the first floor about twice. Mr. Smith, do you want to head up the stairs or continue to move around the first floor?
Yeah, I'll go up the stairs. I'll run up the stairs and waving my arms and screaming about
Get trapped.
being unable to find mine package.
Halt! You're running down the upstairs hallway. You can hear them storming up the stairs behind you, where the German ambassador himself, wearing his bathrobe, and blearily eyed, opens up the door to what must be, his night office or his apartment, his bedroom. What is all this? But you storm right past him, and now he's chasing you. So as you go charging down the hallway through the residential portions. Meanwhile, looking through the great index to try to find the information you need a great result on a scholarship roll. This is
I got
big, thick book.
superb.
Oh my goodness, he's superb. You flip right to Baron von Poppen, and you find out the drawer he's in. So you guys go running down the cabinet, open up the filing cabinet, flip, and find Baron von Poppen's file, and you pull it out. Meanwhile, upstairs, you make it all the way down the other hallway, now with 4 people chasing you, and make it down to the opposite stairway on the other side of the building. Do you want to go up to the 3rd floor, or do you want to run back down to the 1st floor, Mr. Smith?
Well, I mean, obviously, I have no way of knowing what's going on downstairs. But his plan is to actually jump out the window, so going up further would probably be unwise. So I think he'll stick it on the 2nd floor.
Okay, stick on the 2nd floor. In fact, and if you want to, as I say, there are windows all the way around in the hallway. You could jump out one of them right now. Of course, they're closed. Do you want to jump through and smash, break the window, or do you want to stop and open it?
Oh, no. He's not a stop and open the window and let them catch up. Type of guy.
So they might, because you turn around, they're down at the end of the hallway now, and the Bundespolice are actually drawing revolvers at this point, and little Walter P-38s, and because you always recognize gun types, and but you just leap for it, right? Smash.
Oh, yeah.
Now, to smash through the window and do a nice roll and land, do a superhero landing or a rolling landing or whatever, definitely a combat thing. Let's go ahead and have a combat roll you're going to make it through and to the ground. We just don't want you to hurt yourself.
Legendary +1.
Oh, my goodness. Legendary +1, or as I like to call it, superb +2. And you smash and do a nice flip in the air, and you land right on top of a dumpster and bounce off, and they're all waving their fists at you from the window up above. And God damn you. And I'll have to learn some better German, profanity. But, you Scheißenkopfen. And, I think he just called you a shithead, maybe. Anyway, as all this is happening, a great idea, because it's completely distracted, and they're obviously going to think that you set off the alarm, right, instead of these guys somehow. So, anyway, you open the door, you find the file for Baron von Papen. You just want to take the whole file and run, or do you want to look through it real fast and try to, what do you think?
It would be smarter to just take the whole thing, but I think once he sees it, he really can't help but start reading it and trying to find references to Theodosius or whatever.
Yeah, and it's a
stop. No, I'm gonna tug his arm. We don't have time for that.
Oh, it's so interesting.
Mr. Smith is. I know. We'll have plenty of time to read in the hotel room all day.
I guess I can read while I run.
Yeah, or you can do that. But either way, run.
Well, you run
and don't trip.
Luckily, just about the time they're up there waving their fists and screaming, and these guys, being in East German, being in the West German embassy, the most likely person to break it out would be an East German spy, and you can hear them screaming about, the Stasi has come to... Stasi's like the East German secret police.
Yeah.
And you guys go tearing back out into the alley the way you came. You run right past that sleeping bum, and soon you kind of turn the street and turn around the corner, and there you see Mr. Smith dusting himself off, straightening his pants, and I imagine you guys run for the nearest cab, right? Well, if you want to stay at the hotel, Hotel Istanbul is right across the street. It looks pretty nice. I don't believe you've made arrangements
Could do that.
Do we want to maybe find something a little more away from the heat?
If you think that's prudent, we shall grab a cab.
Okay. Well, you wave your arms, and a Turkish cab pulls up. Where you going, Mac? No, you didn't say that. Yeah, I moved here from. Anyway, in Turkey, all the taxi drivers are from America. But anyway, you get the cab to take you to where, like another hotel or just another all-night cafe.
Recommend a nice hotel for us.
Well, the Hotel Justinian is very nice, very nice, very nice. My brother-in-law works there. He will, yes, mention my name, Kazmit. He will give you a complimentary bottle of wine.
Kazmit?
Oh.
Kazmit, yes.
Kazmit?
Okay.
Yes.
Kazmit.
So
thank you very much.
He drives you down in Onu Boulevard to the Hotel Justinian. This great big old, when in the lobby, this beautiful mosaic of Justinian. Byzantine art. Always made people with like gigantic eyes to the window to the soul, and so this old mosaic's just dominating the main wall. But you're able to get a room without too much trouble, past some Turkish currency, and you get a room on the 4th floor, and you're able to sit down at the little table in there. And just as Kashmir said, a bottle of Turkish wine is delivered, and you're able to throw that file down. And it's an old file, like from the Nazi era, so it still has like the swastika with the 2-headed Habsburg eagle interposed on it. And you start flipping through it. Most of it's got nothing to do with you at all. But you're just flipping through, looking for information about Theodosius. And you don't find anything specifically about Theodosius. Perhaps if this guy was up to something, maybe he was up to something either off the record or what. But what you do find is he was pulled out of service here at the consulate in 1944 when Turkey ended trade with Germany during the war due to a lot of pressure from Churchill and Roosevelt. And it does mention that all of Baron von Poppen's possessions were loaded on a train and sent to his castle outside of Berlin in a village called Ludwigsfeld. And his family still lived there at the time this file was updated, which was 7 years ago. It was updated after the war, that he'd taken up residence there. Unfortunately, you guys know your maps, and you know that Lundesfeld is in East Germany now.
Oh, no.
But anything he took with him was probably there. Now, flying into East Germany, that's out of the question, or it'd be extremely difficult. East Germany's not completely blocked off the way it sometimes seems in movies, but tourists arriving via air or rail, they have to submit itineraries like 8 weeks in advance and get special permission. However, you do know there's a thriving smuggling trade that goes on, mostly via railroads or, asphalt roads. Maybe one of you knows a smuggler, perhaps. I'll remind you that in the rules, there's a thing called a contact. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So it could be that, you remember your old buddy, the smuggler, who might be able to get you into East Germany. Who was that again? Who knew that contact? And you get to make up everything about the person. Whoever's feeling creative.
Well, Dan, when Dan was in World War II, he served in the Pacific Theater. So in the Marine Corps, so he doesn't really know any Europeans, I would assume.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I was in the European front, and I probably do know. It's probably me. I'm just so terrible at making stuff up on the fly.
Well, that's okay.
It's not my strong suit. Okay, so my contact is Hans von Bischowisch.
Hans von Bischowisch. Got it. Yeah, maybe you. Yeah, he's a smuggler. He smugglers.
And because I, as you remember, I used to, I raided. We got all of our supplies cut off, so I raided a German supply depot one time, and then they started having me do special ops type stuff, and that is when I met Hans von Bischowisch.
Okay. Well, you want to, I'm going to throw. He smuggles a lot of things into Soviet bloc countries that are hard for them to get. One of his biggest things that he smuggles is Turkish delight. They just can't get enough Turkish delight there, and so we're going to bring back the Turkish delight. He smuggles a lot of Turkish delight, jeans, stuff like that into East Germany. But he is based here in Istanbul. If you want to give him a call.
I will give him a call.
Okay, give him a call on the old ringy-ding-ding. He's a little sleepy when he wakes up. Oh, yes, who? Oh.
Hello, Hans, yes.
Oh, my old friend.
You remember me, your favorite nurse in the Army,
yes,
right?
What are they calling you these days?
13.
13, lovely.
Yes,
But
yes.
I know that you cannot be calling me at, 4:30 a.m., just to say hello.
I'm so sorry. I did kind of forget about the time because I'm on a bit of a
I owe you
time.
I owe you a favor. That load of penicillin you brought in saved a lot of resistance fighters' lives. I owe you one. What can I do for you?
Excellent. Well, actually, I would like to get myself and a couple of my friends into East Germany.
Into?
Yes.
Most people are trying to get out.
Well, we'll want back out too. Hopefully, this can this be a two-part favor?
Well, getting in, I think I can help with. Where is it you need to end up?
So I guess I will tell. We got information out of the file about where this guy's place was located. Yes, is that where?
Ludwigsfeld. Oh, that's near Berlin. Some bit south of Berlin. Well, let me see here. Let me think. I have my coffee. Bring me my coffee, woman. Well, then wake up and bring me my coffee. Yes, as I say, yes, flying is a bad
Shouldn't
idea.
be that early because we had to get back to the hotel and check in and.
Well, I think you were
read through some
you
stuff.
went into you were in and out of that embassy pretty quick at about 3:30 in the quick drive.
True.
So maybe it's closer to 5, but
Probably fine. It's
I
fine.
tell you the best way, fastest. Now, if you take the roads, there will be many stops. However, and if you take the planes, there will be much customs. However, I have been smuggling via rail, and it just so happens there is a line that goes to Berlin from Istanbul. It will take you some 50 hours. It's a bit more than 2 days, I suppose. There are very fewer checkpoints than driving. But it will go first to Bucharest in Romania, and then to Belgrade in Yugoslavia, which was then in Yugoslavia, and then to Vienna in Austria, and then to Berlin. But I cannot hide you in a box, so will you need papers?
Yes.
Okay. Well, very quickly, tell me what your business will be and your names. How many people? Who will be traveling? What is your business going into East Germany? They will need some sort of document. I need something to put on the papers. I'll forge for you.
Okay, so.
Boy, I hope this phone is not tapped.
No doubt. I will be going with Mr. Smith. John Smith.
Yes, John Smith. Occupation?
Occupation.
Tell him I'm a shoemaker. There was a dearth of shoes in East Germany, and I'm going to go and help cobble shoes for
Very
them.
well.
Yes.
John Smith, cobbler.
Okay.
Cobbler, very well.
John Smith Cobbler.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, nationality?
Yes, and then-
Nationality? Is that an English name? American?
It's some pretty American in there.
Okay, American nationality. Okay. Shouldn't create too much trouble. Simple cobbler. All right. And how about you?
And then I also have with me Stu Grant.
Okay. Occupation?
Stu. Why did it have to be me? Why did it have to be me?
He's a podiatrist.
I might have.
The podiatrist, foot
taken
doctor.
Time to,
Foot
He's
doctor. Very well. Foot
he's a
doctor.
podiatrist.
Okay.
He'll be diagnosing people's feet, and I'll be making them
Special
therapeutic shoes.
That's why we
Therapeutic
work
shoes. Good
together.
cover. Therapeutic shoe team. Very good.
Yes, and for my papers, you
Shooting
can
six.
put. I'm actually married to Mr. Grant.
Very well. Very well.
Yes.
My name is Elisa.
Lisa.
Elisa Grant.
Very well. We will assign you to a sleeping car together, and we'll put Mr. Smith in the bunks. And very well. Okay, this can all be ready by 9:30 a.m. So meet me at the Cafe Theodora, and we will do business.
Thank you, my friend.
Oh, thank you, and all the resistance fighters. Thank you too. So there's an example of how, and you guys can all do that. You know, your contact's canon now, but this guy's all over. You know, he could show up anywhere, and so you guys can use these guys, these characters to kind of get you out of trouble. You know, or that thing you need that you can't figure out, you can always call your contact. You end up in jail, maybe you know a lawyer. You know, that sort of thing. If you end up in an East German prison, maybe you know somebody, an ambassador. I don't know.
We better know
Yeah,
somebody.
or maybe the warden has a, bunion that you could help him with and make him special shoes. But okay, well, after a few, quick hours, a few hours of sleep and a shower, you get your stuff together and go to the Cafe Theodora and meet old Hans von Bischuisch, who provides you with the papers and the train tickets. And then it's off to the big train station at Istanbul. And once again, the little red line that moves across the map that shows where you're going takes off, and you leave the magnificent ancient city of Istanbul, formerly Constantinople, formerly Byzantium, on the train.
And
Yeah.
is this, by the way, is this the Orient Express?
It's not the Orient Express. No, that would go further. But that would have been fun, and I probably should have thought of that. But this is an actual line, though, that ran. And you take off. It's not long before you're in Bulgaria. And the day, of course, you can see out the window, the train is going through a bleak-looking pine forest in the foothills of the Stranza Mountains. And so you're going over a railway bridge. And just then, you are... well, I don't know where you are. I mean, you could be sitting in your bunk. When I say a bunk, though, you've seen those kind of trains where there's like 2 or 3 bunks with the curtains, and that's where they've put you, Mr. Smith. And then there's the sleeping rooms. But would you guys be sitting together in the observation car, or the dining car, or the bar car, or where do you think you'd be during your trip?
The observation car sounds cool.
I think that is where Mr. Smith would be as well.
Well, you certainly get beautiful view of the Stranza Mountains. And as you're going over that railway bridge, at the end of the front of the observation car, 2 figures come up. They're wearing Stasi uniforms, East German police. This is a German train. It's a Humboldt Deutsche Motoren, German train and German line going back and forth to Berlin. And they're walking down the rows. Some papers, please. Papers, please. And everybody's showing them their papers. And they get down to you guys. Papers, please.
Of course.
Give them our papers. Mm-hmm.
Now we're going to roll for your buddy, Hans von Bischuisch, to see just what a good job his forgery was. Now, these Stasi agents are no slouches. But neither is Hans von Bischuisch. Okay, he has a great ability at forgery. So if you could roll, you need to beat their result. They're looking at it, and they give it a double glance. You are going to need a great, because that's what the Stasi has just rolled.
It. Okay, I also got a great.
Well, they stare at you, and there's a few moments. Dankeschön, they say, and they move on. As you turn,
hey, excuse me, sir. You look like you might have a little limp there. Have you thought about having your feet checked out?
No, he says, with no friendliness whatsoever.
Oh, whoops, sorry. Nope. No offense intended.
he gives you a long stare and then moves on. And as they exit the car, you look back and you see there's a guy who had a newspaper over his face. And he was looking down and watching this exchange. But he puts the newspaper back up over his face. Guy with red hair, he's chain smoking. He's sitting right next to a guy with a chin beard and sunglasses. And you realize that bum you saw sleeping in the alley is this same guy with the red hair. And that's where we're going to stop. Now, I remember last time, I don't know if you just didn't remember this or what, but I threw in a little metagamey thing that your characters couldn't know about. When we stopped in the last game, I mentioned that somebody had followed you. The shadowy figure followed you down into, So you think these 2 guys are following you, but you know what? You can do something about that next time, and maybe we'll just have a fight on a train going through Bulgaria. Well, that sounds fun. We'll have to do that next time.
Or at least a stern intimidation session.
Yes. And then maybe you can make it to a castle in East Germany and see what you can find there. So that's it for today on Top Men.
Hey everybody, if you like our podcast, don't forget to leave us a good rating and or review on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Spotify, or wherever you're able. Subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter at Goonies_world, and check out our website at GooniesWorldPodcast.com. Email us at GooniesWorldPodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.